Get ready with me while I tell you how I became a principal dancer in Riverdance. So this is honestly one of my favourite stories to tell because it's probably one of the things I'm most proud of that I've achieved in my life, and it's actually such a fun kind of story, but I'm going to start right at the beginning. I had spent my whole life watching Riverdance. As a little girl, I had it on the large videotapes that you put in to the videotape player. What was that called? That seems so silly. So I had the video of Riverdance, my mum and dad's wedding video and Barney, and I watched Riverdance over and over and over again, and I really wanted to be in the show someday. So I grew up as a competitive Irish dancer, like making my way through the ranks, trying to become a world champion. I was lucky to become a world champion in 2010, and I also came second in the world 6 times. So I was runner up at the world championships 6 times, which is a lot, but it definitely made me very, very, very determined and really, really hard working because I was always trying to win. So in 2016, I was studying my A-level exams and applying to university to study medicine and hopefully become a doctor. So I done interviews, the UK CAT exam. The process was really, really tough and very time consuming, but I kept up with my dancing all along. As you grow up, you kind of stop believing that you might actually be good enough to be in something like Riverdance, but it was always a dream of mine. And in 2015, Riverdance introduced this summer school. So a lot of people in my competition and people around the same age of me had done it in 2015. So for the summer of 2016, I had applied to do the Riverdance summer school, and I was so excited. The summer school is this incredible week-long process where you learn the choreography from the current dancers in the show, and they are instructors for the week. If you are the right age, you can also audition for Riverdance, so that's what I done. What I will say is, as an 18-year-old, I did have pretty good confidence from my dancing, and I had confidence in my dancing ability. I knew that I loved to perform, so I was excited to bring that to the summer school. What I wasn't confident in was the Riverdance choreography, because for me, the intricacy of it and how traditional it was a little bit difficult. So the first couple of days at the summer school were overwhelming, but I really felt I belong here and I want to do whatever it takes to prove myself and get into the show. So at night time, after we had done our long day at the summer school, I would come back to my little dorm room and practice until midnight or later. And I would practice what I think they were going to teach the next day, what I had learned that day, how I could use my face, because they were talking about the importance of performance. And I knew deep down that was something that I loved and could do. I had done drama for GCSE and had done really well in it. I got an A star and I loved it. So I knew that kind of performance element was really inside me. Also, as a competitive Irish dancer, I loved using my smile and stuff on stage to kind of captivate the judges. And I kind of always would say I don't necessarily need to be the judges winner, but I want to perform for the audience. And I loved doing that. I always loved being on stage, more so than even being in dance class. Anyways, as the week went on, I was having an amazing week. I was learning so much, and I was being pushed and challenged, and I adored it. And when people would come into the room, the instructors, I would have this ambition to look really, really confident and look like I was ready for the show. And by no means was I fully ready for the show, but I had so much to learn. Even though I am in the show 7 years, I'm still learning. I should say this week actually marks my first ever show with Riverdance 7 years ago. So that's exciting. I also cannot believe it's been 7 years, but it has flown by because I've made the most incredible friends and had so much fun dancing the show. At the end of the week, you do a Riverdance showcase. If they see potential in you, they select a small few of dancers who get to perform in the matinee of the real Riverdance show at the Gaiety Theatre. So myself and I think 3 others were chose to perform in the matinee. So my parents came to Dublin quickly, got tickets and came to see the show. So that was kind of my first show, I guess, but I only performed one number. What I always remember about that is for the showcase, the summer school showcase, I did not perform in the number Riverdance, so I hadn't practiced it for like 3 or 4 days. Well, maybe like 3 days. But whenever I went to dance in the actual show, they put me into the number Riverdance, which was like a test when I look back. But it was funny because I was so stressed because I was like, I was focused on all the other numbers for the showcase. One of the elements that is incredible about the Riverdance Summer School is the fact that they get to see you as a person and learn who you are, like whilst auditioning you. So it's not just about how well you can dance, but they are working with you for a full week. So they really get to know like your character, your personality, your traits, everything that you can bring to the table. I really do believe it's one of the best ways to audition people for a show, because teamwork and personalities is so important in the show. So I think it's a huge opportunity for you not only to showcase like your strengths as a dancer, but if you have strengths as a person and as a leader and as a team player, that is incredible. Okay, so I do the Riverdance Summer School. I get to perform in the matinee of the Riverdance show. Fast forward a few weeks later and my A-level results are coming out. So I needed 3 A's in my A-levels to get into medicine in either Bristol or Belfast. That's the 2 universities where I had passed the interview, and I had made Belfast my like confirmation. I think that's what it was called. I can barely remember. Like my top pick, then Bristol my next pick, and then biomedical science at Belfast my third. And basically that morning was a roller coaster, but I got an A, B in my A-levels. So I hadn't got into medicine in either Belfast or Bristol. I had got into biomedical science at Belfast, but I didn't really want to do it. Now, what I should say is on the lead up to A-level result day, my head was in Riverdance. Like after the Riverdance Summer School, I just watched Riverdance every single day on YouTube. I loved it. I wanted to so badly be a part of it. And like every day I would say to myself, send an email, like tell them that you're interested. But I had no idea, like I'm out of the circle, no idea like what tours are coming up, if they need dancers, like that's obviously a huge part of it. The day after my A-level results came out, I could not make a decision on what I wanted to do. Like, how was I gonna get this A so that I could like apply for medicine in the future? Should I go to Belfast and study biomedical science? I didn't want to do any of that. I really wanted to get on tour and dance. So I started looking into like shows, like who might need dancers and stuff. I decided to go for a walk to the chapel, which is really close to where I live, and light a candle to my nana, my mum's mum, to help her guide me in this decision, because she was always like, in my life, she always helped me with decisions when she was alive. She had passed away about a year before, and I just felt like she was really going to help me. As I'm leaving the house phone rings, and my brother answers it and brings it to my mum, and my mum comes off the phone, calls me back, and literally just walking out our lane to go on this walk, and she tells me that the general manager of Riverdance had called to see if I would be interested in touring with Riverdance. I hope I'm not like talking too much and making this story really long, but I just loved all the little parts of the story. When my mum told me this, like my jaw dropped, and I like was like struggling to believe it was true. I was so excited, and I knew instantly. I was like, I am going to Riverdance. My guidance counsellor at school was incredible, like such an amazing woman, so kind and caring and empathetic. So I booked in a meeting with her, and I remember so clearly this is what she said to me. Amy May, thousands of people have got into study medicine this year. Thousands of people have gotten into university. You are the only person I know that's gotten into Riverdance. And like straight away, it was like all my desires were confirmed. I was like, yes, she's right. Like this is a dream come true. Like when I was a little tiny 2-year-old girl watching Riverdance on TV, this was all I wanted, and it's happening. Like I couldn't believe it. So as soon as they give me the official offer, I was like 100% I'm doing it. I was so excited. She had encouraged me to come back after the tour and repeat the chemistry A-level that I needed to bring from a B to an A. So I agreed that I would do that, and I headed off on the tour. I have to admit, like I was nervous for the tour. I was going to China. Like I had no clue what was ahead of me. I was really, really nervous about being new in the show, and like I knew I had so much to learn. I had so much growth to do and like improvement to make, but I was excited about that, but I was really, really nervous. We had a training in week for everybody that was going to be new in the show in China, and it was so comforting to meet all the girls that were going to be new in the show and see we were all in the same position. And like I made friends instantly, and two of the girls I made friends with that week are now my best friends. So that's 7 years ago, and it's like, and I feel so fortunate to have had this journey with them and to call them my best friends. They are amazing girls. One of the best things Riverdance has brought me is the people it has brought me, like, and just the memories we have created together and the friendships we have formed because of the things we've been through. Like, I am the luckiest girl in the world for the friends that I have. I was so lucky to join with the people that I did join with because we were extremely ambitious and we had like set the goal to be asked back for future tours in Riverdance. At this moment, they had 2 trips. The trip that we were in that was in China, and then another trip in America. And it was going to go down to 1 trip for the summer, and we desperately wanted to prove ourselves to get asked to be part of the summer cast in the Gaiety Theatre with Riverdance. When we were not on stage, we were backstage dancing and learning and asking each other so many questions. And I'm so fortunate I joined with that group because we worked so hard, and I think we grew so much because of it. When I tell you, I grew up so fast. I was 18 when I went to China to take on, like, in my eyes, the best job in the world. Like, can you imagine the pressure I was putting on myself? It's really strange to be like 18 and leaving your like 1-year-old, 10-year-old and 12-year-old siblings behind. Like, they were so young, especially my youngest little sister. Like, she was so young. So although the first tour was like incredible, like so much fun, there was a lot of challenges as well, homesickness being a big one. Anyways, I'm on that tour and I have my chemistry notes with me, my textbooks, and all the notes I'd made the year before because I'm going home to repeat that exam in like May time. At the end of this China tour, Riverdance made me an offer to join the American cast and finish out their tour. However, that overlapped with the chemistry exam that I said that I would repeat. Now, to paint the picture, being asked to join that American cast was a huge achievement, like an incredible achievement. So it was so hard to have to make the decision. But I remember thinking to myself, if I go home and I do this chemistry exam, it is done for the rest of my life and I can give as many years as I want to Riverdance if they'll have me. Now, you do have that fear of like, if I'm unable to do this tour, then they might not ask me back to do future tour, because you're trying your best to like get in there and be the best that you possibly can and be like fit seamlessly in with the cast. So I was really scared this was going to set me back a lot. However, everyone that was advising me and the people of Riverdance were so good, gave me that comfort that they weren't going to punish me for this and they felt like it was the right decision for me. I was only 19 at this point also. So I leave that tour an emotional wreck because I'm like, what have I done? I wish I was going straight onto that American tour. But I get home and I'm like, okay, I'm here now. I've made that decision. Like, I have to live with it. The first thing that crossed my mind was like staying dance fit so that if Riverdance did ask me back, I would be dancing for the next few months and like fit enough to be part of Riverdance, because I wanted to go back and be even better than what I was before. So I went back to compete because I knew if I was training for the World Championships, that was going to push me to like keep improving as a dancer. So I do compete at the World Championships. I place 4th place, and Riverdance had sponsored my competition. I think this is just fate or like one of those weird coincidences. It's a weird moment where it's like the stars aligned. So the executive producer of Riverdance was presenting my competition. This is the part of the story that literally gives me goosebumps every time I think of it. As I'm walking on stage to be presented with my trophy and my sash for getting 4th place, he's putting like the medal around my neck and he says, as I'm doing this, I want to let you know that we are going to train you in to be a lead in Riverdance. and my legs are literally on stage because I cannot believe it. Like, it was like the biggest dream I could possibly have. Whilst I was on that first tour with Riverdance, like, I just remember thinking to myself, I want to be a lead someday. In 3 years, I'm going to be a lead. Like, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to be one of the best leads they've ever seen. Like, it was a goal, but I knew I was going to have to work so hard for it. Now, the timing for me aligned and it was perfect. And they needed to train a lead in at that time. So it was just like the stars had aligned perfectly. For me, this is like the biggest moment of my life, and I'm on stage and I'm not sure who I'm allowed to tell, and I'm like, and I'm looking down at my parents, like praying that they know what he has told me, because it's also going to be like one of the biggest moments of their life. Like, they have spent years taking me to Irish dance classes for a moment like this and sacrificing so much of their time and money and everything for this moment for me, and I just could not believe it was happening. I'm going to post that video on my page so you can watch it, because it is so funny, and it's just like, it is a really beautiful moment for me. Like, it's just, I still cannot believe it. I'll never forget how badly I wanted to tell my mum, and I could see her like looking at me like, kind of like, what did he say, what did he say? And they were trying to figure it out, and they had thought that I had been offered the Gaiety, because they knew that was like my huge goal, was to perform with Riverdance in the Gaiety that summer. They could clearly see how excited I was, so they were just celebrating. By the time I had like signed for my trophy and got down to them, when I was signing for my trophy, I told my mum, like, they were already like in the mood to celebrate, because they could see how excited I was. And that moment confirmed that it was like the end of my competitive career. 17 years of me competing and all the memories we had created. It was the perfect moment at the perfect time. Like, I cannot describe how incredibly perfect it was. Like, I was basically retiring from competition, and it was the perfect door opening for me. Like, I am so grateful to Riverdance for that. Like, how magic that was, how incredible and emotional and magical that moment truly was for me and for my family, and we hold on to it so much, and we just are like so grateful for it. And actually, that evening I was competing in the dance drama with the rest of my dancing school, and we were on such a high. Like, the whole school was buzzing, and we won the dance drama, so we became world champions that night. And that's where the real hard work and the real story begins, but that's the story for another day. So that's basically how I became a principal dancer in Riverdance. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my little story time.